What's going on, everybody? Little Chris is back with another episode of Pool Talk, and today I'm joined by Wayne. Wayne, thanks for coming, man. This is not my teacher, by the way, though, but we are local players here in our area. So let everybody know who you are, buddy. How long have you been playing, and what got you started?
Well, I've been playing pool since I was 3. My grandfather owned a pool in Arizona before I was born, and they moved to Texas. And when I was 3, he bought me my first miniature pool cue and a stool so I could see above the table. And he taught me everything that I knew then. And when he passed away in '92, it was really difficult for me to continue that. That was something that we had. And so I didn't pick it back up until I started playing league here in our area.
Okay, so you mentioned in '92 is when you stopped, and so how long of a gap was there before you started playing league?
I picked it back up in 2003. That's when I joined the APA.
That's an 11-year break. That's a pretty long break.
Yeah.
You mentioned though that your grandfather had a pool hall in Arizona. Now, is that obviously they don't own it, but is that location still there?
I don't think so. I don't know much about it. I was just a toddler when he was talking about that. All I could remember was him telling me stories about going into a place and playing pool, and he owned it. Back then, I really didn't know what a pool hall was. I wish I did because I love them.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, if you've been playing for a long time, clearly you at least invested in some equipment here. What do we got?
This is my brake stick. I got it from my buddy Dan. It's a Predator BK3.
Same one that I own.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is I used to brake with a heavier stick, and I used to knock the living tar out of the cue ball, trying to get the balls to spread as much as possible. I don't have to do that with this stick. If I do, the cue ball just flies off the table. So it's interesting. I really don't understand the concept.
It's my understanding that there's this misconception of that the heavier the cue, the more power that you can actually put into your stroke, which I'm pretty sure that still actually does hold some merit. But from what I've read and understood from the technology that they put in, that the lighter the cue, the faster that you can actually swing the cue, and that's where you can actually generate more power than anything else. And so I have noticed a trend that braking cues have gotten lighter and lighter as opposed to regular shooting cues. So that's cool, but what about this second cue here? This one's beautiful.
This is probably one of my favorite pool cues. This was made by Larry Norman.
Ooh, he's one of our locals.
Yeah, he is a local. This is a custom cue, and it all generated from this wrap.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bunch of wraps, and I was like, man, that wrap right there is amazing. And I was like, that would look perfect on a stick. I don't care what the rest of the stick looks like. As long as it's got that wrap, it's going to be amazing. And he just does phenomenal work.
Outstanding. How heavy is it? How many ounces?
I believe it's 19 ounces. 19 and a half.
19 and a half? What about the tip? What kind of tip does Larry Norman put on his, or that he put on this one?
Well, I don't remember the name of the tip that he put on there, but I've had it changed since then. I've had this stick for a little over a year. Right now, it's just got a La Pro because that's what I'm used to shooting.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I heard you mentioned APA. So obviously you play in some leagues. What about tournaments? Have you done tournaments before too?
Yeah, I've done the 9-ball tournament that is over at Charlie's, the big one.
Okay.
I've done that once, and that was a good $75 lesson. I don't normally play 9-ball. I play it for fun, but I wanted to give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it farther than what I thought I was going to make it. Every February, my friend Dan and I, we travel out to Houston and play in a doubles tournament that goes up to a skill level of 12.
Skill level of 12 regarding APA?
Yeah.
Okay.
APA. So that gives 2 sixes a chance to play together, because normal Scotch doubles in league, you can't go past a skill level of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just an open tournament. It's a cash tournament. But the thing that I like about it the most is that we get to play against people we don't hardly ever play against except for once a year.
Right.
So it's different to have a change of scene.
That's awesome. You said 2 sixes, so I'm assuming that your skill level is a 6?
Yeah.
And is that for 8-ball or 9-ball?
That's for 8-ball. I don't play 9-ball league.
Okay, but you mentioned that you played in a 9-ball tournament. So is there, like, what's the difference for you as to why you would prefer one over the other? I mean, do you like 9-ball or do you like 8-ball more?
I really love the team that I'm playing with in 8-ball. And I really can, unfortunately, invest in league time only one night a week. I would much rather play with the group of friends that I have in 8-ball. I enjoy playing 8-ball. To me, it's 8-ball and 9-ball is challenging in its own different ways.
Sure.
9-ball, you have to work around just 9 balls and trying to manipulate the cue ball to get. You have a more open spot, but that's also dangerous. 8-ball, not only do you have to worry about your balls, but you have to worry about your opponent's balls. And if you carry them off of your ball and make 8-ball, and unlike 9-ball, you don't get to win the game on that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, there's some time that I want to be able to play 9-ball league, but it doesn't fit in my time right now. But what I do get to enjoy is watching my kid play 9-ball league for AP and the juniors.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So it's interesting what you said there, because you mentioned, we all have our own personal lives and we're busy at times, and so you can only afford one night a week in order to play league. So, I mean, do you have ambitions on possibly becoming pro?
Maybe once all my kids are out of the house and I can invest more time into it. I've thought about going and doing an open just to see how far I can get, because, I mean, although I am a 6 and I have a pool table in my house, there's just a limited amount of time that I can invest in the pool at the moment.
Sure.
So I don't know if my 6 skills would measure up to somebody who can invest more than 5 or 6 hours a week.
All right. I mean, it would be my advice. There's only one way to find out, and that's actually go do it.
Well, that is true.
So in the meantime, then, because you sound like you're more of a recreational player, at least with the league 1 night a week. So what's a short-term goal that you have here? You mentioned that you're a 6. Like, are you trying to become a 7, or do you want to break into the 9-ball world, or give me an idea of what you're actually looking for, or is this just more just to have fun and hang out with friends?
It's a lot of it. I enjoy coming to league. I enjoy playing against players like you who are obviously better than me. And I don't take a defeat as, and this is new Wayne talking, because old Wayne would be so mad if I only got, like, for instance, you and our match that we had last session, it was 5 games in what?
4 innings.
Old Wayne would have been just like furious at the fact that I just got waxed. I wasn't even in competition. But now I'm taking a lighter side to it, and it's a learning opportunity. What could I have done in that game to maybe not get beat with only 4 innings? Try not to run out the table on a 7, who's obviously, if I miss, is going to more than likely run out of the balls.
That's an absolute strategy to consider, especially when you're playing 8-ball, that if you run the table and miss, you're more than likely going to lose at that point. So yeah, that's cool then. So let me ask then, if you talk about going pro, with regards to pros, is there a pro out there right now that inspires you to become better? Like, do you follow them? Do you, if there's any YouTube videos on them, do you try to analyze what they do and try to adapt into your own game?
Yeah, when I got my pool table, I wanted to be Mike Massey. I wanted to jump a cue ball off the table from one end to another and land in a boot.
What about spin the ball with your fingers?
Yeah, I can't even do that with my stick, let alone my fingers. He's just, it looks so effortless, and it's only because he's been doing it for so long, and he's invested all of his life into a game that he obviously truly loves.
Right.
When Dan and I we went to Vegas, we won a qualifier to play in doubles tournament in Vegas, and I actually got to meet Mike Massey on my way to pay $20 to get my butt whooped by Jeanette Lee.
Oh, nice.
So he's a very nice man, and I stopped him right in the middle of him walking, and I was like a little schoolgirl. Mike Massey, oh my God! You know, it's just he's one of my idols.
That's awesome.
And I'm inspired to learn cue ball manipulation like he does.
Right. So that's always fantastic to have an idol and obviously meet your idol in person. I've met quite a few professionals in my career, and it's very satisfying to meet someone of that caliber.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. That's awesome. You kind of led into like our final question here, so I hope we didn't already disclose it, what the answer was going to be. But in this game, in the lifetime that you've played, either prior to your break or even now since you've been playing, what would you have to say is the most memorable moment that you've had, whether it's a loss like me beating you in 4 innings, or anything in victory, or even something that you've actually witnessed yourself, even though you weren't a part of it. It's just something that you've seen that was just so mind-boggling that you'll never forget.
Yeah. So when I started in this league, we played traveling, and we played out of a bar downtown, and my team kind of had to like break up because we got too top heavy, and so we were playing the other people from our old team, and it was my first break and run, and I'll never forget it because back then I broke with my playing cue, and of course I was obviously going to smash the balls, and I made 4 stripes and 3 solids on the break.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most balls I've ever made on a break in my life. And I don't know, all the stripes were lined up in a pocket, and the 8 ball was close to a pocket. So it was my first break and run in league, which actually made me from a 4 to a 5 the following week. I shot really well that game. It wasn't just that. Everything that I've done prior to that, plus that is what caused me up to a 5. But yeah, I believe I was a 4 when it happened, and it's just something that I'll never forget. I was so proud of myself that I didn't screw it up, because I tend to overthink things a lot when I play pool, and I always miss the easiest shot because I'm overthinking it. So yeah, that's probably my most memorable thing that I've done in league. Now, paying $20 to get your break, to allow to break against Jeanette Lee, and then sit down and watch her manipulate the cue ball and just destroy you in 2 seconds. That is a great feeling, and I owe her a game. One day I'll be good enough to chop her cue.
That's awesome. I mean, in comparison to being able to make 7 balls on the break first and foremost, and then obviously to be able to run the rest of the table and not allow your opponent to shoot. I can always remember the very first time I ever broke and ran the table, both in 8-ball and 9-ball, and the satisfying feeling that you can have for that. So I mean, that's just completely awesome. I mean, so thanks for joining me here with another episode of Pool Talk. If you like what you saw here, obviously give me a thumbs up. I'm still looking for some ladies to do an interview here, but I've also had a request that I try to have an exhibition match with some of the people that I actually interview. So Wayne, if you don't mind, do you want to play some 8-ball or 9-ball?
Sure, let's do it.
Which one would you rather do?
Let's play 9-ball.
You want to play some 9-ball?
Yeah, let's play some 9-ball.
Okay, so this video doesn't end up being too terribly long, we're going to try to do a quick race to 3, so stay tuned while we set up. So before we started our match, Wayne had mentioned to me how he has difficulties breaking a 9-ball rack. So I worked with him for a little bit, showing him the second way I break a 9-ball rack, and after a few practice breaks, here's how he starts the match. Nice break.
I like that. Oh, did I get enough gas?
Yep, good shot.
That's rolling it into the pump. Running out of fumes. I was trying to do an air brake. Didn't happen.
I didn't know what to do there.
Well, you handle it better than I would. Oh, I missed that so bad when I just made it. Because you know I was trying to cut it.
Yeah. Nice shot. Ooh. Got the position.
Oh,
Good try.
He's hooked.
I think, no, I think you can see it.
Just enough.
Beautiful shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, too soft.
Ah.
Oh my goodness.
Playing with fire. Tried.
Yeah, that was a dang good try. Uh-oh. shot